Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sensual Revolution. If you're a woman, do you need a man? Notice I didn't ask if you can stomach a man. I didn't ask if you can survive a man. I asked you if you need a man. You probably think it's a sexist question. Oh my God, Shmuley with the beard and the yarmulke. Rabbi, of course he's asking if I need. This is part of a patriarchal society. You know, I've asked this question of women all around the world, live audiences. There could be 500 women in the audience, and I say, do you need a man? Very often, they're right there with their husbands next to them, and even then they don't raise their hands. Occasionally, out of an audience of 500, one or two hands will go like this. As if I asked, raise your hand if you have a venereal disease. People will be the hand of shame, the one woman who acknowledges she needs a man. But then I follow up with a second question. Okay, none of you need a man. I respect that. Raise your hand if you need a refrigerator. And suddenly all the hands go up and the men look around bewildered. Wait a second. Is my wife sitting right next to me acknowledging a dependency on a piece of metal that could cool her milk rather than a piece of hot flesh that could electrify her heart? Why do women today feel that they don't need a man, but they need a refrigerator? Because GE brings good things to life, right? Because the refrigerator is dependable. It's not going to cheat on you. The refrigerator isn't like a roving radar tower, to use the expression that my friend Dennis Prager always says about men who like go out to dinner with their wives and their radar tower, seeing every pair of legs that passes by. The fridge doesn't do that. Very focused, just on giving you what you need. So women are learning to wean themselves off a dependency on men. That's how distant the sexes have become. You know, when I was a boy, I remember all of these romantic fairy tales, so many of them, Snow White, and they were all about the prince that kisses the fair maiden. I wonder if those stories still resonate now that women feel a little bit disappointed in men. Studies even show that 75% of divorces in America, so 1 out of 2 couples divorced today, 75%, 3/4 of those divorces are initiated not by men, but by women. And a lot of those women are going out into the wild blue yonder where they may never marry again. It's harder, statistically, for divorced women to remarry than it is for men. Remember that famous statistic that to be a woman 35 and older in America, you have a greater chance of being in a terror attack than actually finding a husband? I have a friend who's a well-known author, and she was in the 9/11 terror attacks in downtown Manhattan. And afterwards, she called me and said to me, look, Shmuley, I'm over 35. Now that I've been in a terror attack, does that not mean that I'm going to meet the man of my dreams? Okay, she was being facetious. But 3/4 of divorces are initiated by women who may never again marry, and they would rather be alone than be with this guy who doesn't acknowledge them, doesn't compliment them, often doesn't make love to them. There's a crisis in how women look at men, and it's one of the reasons that the women don't raise their hand when I ask them, do you need a man? They'll say, I'd like to be with a man. I prefer to be with a man, but I don't need a man. I need a cell phone. I need a car. I need a job, but I don't need a man. By the way, when I try to ask the question in reverse at these live audiences, when I try to ask the men, raise your hand if you need a woman, it never works because all the hands go up, because what the men are hearing is, raise your hand if you want sex right now. What do we do about women feeling turned off of men, still attracted to men, wanting a man, but refusing to be dependent on a man? Not that I believe in dependency. When it comes to relationships, I don't believe in dependency, and I don't believe in independence. I believe in interdependence, where you both connect and you need each other while you are still complete and whole beings on your own. Interdependence. But what do we do about female cynicism? It's simple. We educate a new generation of men how to be gentlemen. You see, once upon a time, dating was all about the onus on the man to be a gentleman. A man had to get dressed up, a tie, a suit. Not that clothing matters, or formal clothing, but he would perfect himself just a little bit. And he would present a card, and the woman would be courted, and she would determine whether or not she would accept the invitation for him to court her. The onus was on him to impress a woman. Everything has changed now. The onus is now on women to be noticed at a club, at a party, at a restaurant. It's the women who who have to spend an hour before going on a date like this, while the guy gets ready for the date just by going, I'm ready. I would like to see emphasis on a new generation of men who want to be gentlemen, who want to practice not just sexual fidelity and emotional exclusivity, but erotic focus, to stare at one woman, to fantasize about one woman, to revel in the beauty of one woman. That's a gentleman. Erotic focus is the core definition of the loving husband. He makes his wife feel beautiful, attractive, and desirable at all times. And I believe that if we raise a generation of men like that, women will stop being so cynical, and then they won't be offended in being asked the question, do you need a man? Because they'll find men are dependable and sure. In the same way I need other essential things in life, a man is kind of an essential thing. But if we continue to raise men on a steady diet of porn, where they're just looking at so many women, losing the capacity to be focused on one, where they become addicted to two-dimensional figures, all of which are airbrushed, where they look at the same 4 or 5 sexual positions with many, many, many women instead of learning how to be sexually creative with one woman, if we fail in that mission to raise the erotically charged, focused gentleman, then we risk women becoming further alienated and further distanced. And that will leave us with a cold, dark planet of people who no longer believe in love. They're going to start believing that love was invented by Walt Disney to make a couple of bucks instead of it being something intrinsic and innate within us, something we all seek, something we all want, something we all desire, and something we all pursue. Long live love. Let's get beyond the cynicism. We all want to be wanted. We desire to be desired. We need to be needed. Women should need men, and men should need women. In its most beautiful state and form, it's called marriage, where you become lifelong soulmates, both needing each other, building together, and creating. God bless you, and I hope you continue to enjoy the sensual revolution.